Our power will lie in picking up the weapons of love and nonviolence and taking out their bodies and our souls and mobilizing them into a powerful mass movement that will bring attention to the issue and that will so create the kind of creative tension that no community can ignore it. And I think that this, as we go on in the days ahead, can guide us into a brighter tomorrow. And so somehow we must be able to say to our most violent opponents, we will not in any way hate you. We will match your capacity to inflict suffering by our capacity to endure suffering. We will meet your physical force with soul force. Do to us what you will, and we will still love you. We cannot in all good conscience obey your unjust laws, because non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. And so throw us in jail, and we will still love you. Threaten our children and bomb our homes, and we will still love you. Send your hooded perpetrators of violence into our communities at the midnight hours and drag us out on some wayside road and beat us and leave us half dead and even kill us. And as hard as it is, we will still love you. Send your propaganda agents around the country and make it appear that we are not fit morally or culturally for integration, and we will still love you. But be ye assured that we will wear you down by our capacity to suffer. One day we will win our freedom. We will not only win freedom for ourselves, we will so appeal to your heart and your conscience that we will win you in the process. And our victory will be a double victory. This is it. This is the love that I like to talk about. I'm not talking about a weak love here. I'm not talking about emotional bosh. I'm not talking about some affectionate emotion even. It's something much deeper than that. The Greek language comes to our aid as we try to understand the meaning of love in this context. There are three words in the Greek language for love. That is the word eros. Eros is a sort of aesthetic love, a sort of yearning of the soul for the realm of the divine. Plato talks about it a great deal in his dialogue. It has come to us to be a sort of romantic love, and in this sense we all know about eros. We've read about it in all of the beauties of literature and experienced it. In a sense, Edgar Allan Poe was talking about eros when he talked about his beautiful Annabel Lee, with the love surrounded by the halo of eternity. In a sense, Shakespeare was talking about some form of eros when he said, love is not love which alters when its alteration finds or bends with a remover to remove. It is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the start to every wandering bark. You know, I can remember that. I'm about to lose my voice because I used to quote that to my wife when we were courting. That's eros. The Greek language talks also about phileo. Phileo, which is another level of love, and this is a beautiful love. It's a reciprocal love. On this level, you love because you are loved. You love the people that you like. This is friendship. This is a great and profound and meaningful love, but the Greek language comes out with the word agape. And agape is more than eros or phileo. Agape is more than romantic, aesthetic, or friendship, that kind of love. It's more than that. Agape is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill for all men. It is a creative love, an overflowing love, a spontaneous love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would say that it is the love of God operating in the human heart. And when one rises to love on this level, he loves every man, not because he likes him, not because his ways appeal to him, but because God loves him. And he rises to the position of being able to love the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that the person does. And I think this is what Jesus meant when he said, love your enemies. And I'm so happy he didn't say like your enemies, because it's kind of difficult to like some people. I think it would be difficult for Negroes in Selma, Alabama to like Mr. Jim Clark, or for Negroes in Birmingham in 1963 to like Mr. Bull Connor, but Jesus said love them. And love is greater than like. Love is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill for all men. And it helps you to understand even Mr. Connor and even Mr. Clark, because you come to see that they were taught that way. They lived in a culture that surrounded them with those attitudes, and even sometimes that churches supported them in their convictions. And so while you can't like what they are doing in their attitudes, you begin to love them as persons. And as you march against them, as you stand up with all of your might against the unjust system, your ultimate purpose is even to redeem them and to bring about the beloved community. These are some of the things before us as we face the frontier of racial tension. And let me say, my friends, as I come to my conclusion, that if this problem is to be solved in our country today, there must be a sort of divine discontent. It isn't going to work itself out. But enough people must rise up and be a part of that creative minority and will say, I'm going to take a stand in spite of. There are certain words within every academic discipline that soon become stereotypes and cliches. Every academic discipline has its technical nomenclature. Modern psychology has a word that's probably used more than any other word in psychology. It is the word maladjusted. Now, certainly we all want to live the well-adjusted life in order to avoid the neurotic and schizophrenic personalities. But I must honestly say to you, and I hope you will understand, that there are some things in our nation and in our society to which I'm proud to be maladjusted, which I hope all men of goodwill will be maladjusted until the good society is realized. I must honestly say to you that I never intend to adjust myself to segregation and discrimination. I must honestly say to you that I never intend to become adjusted to religious bigotry. I must say to you that I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few. I must honestly say that I never intend to adjust myself to the madness of militarism and the self-defeating effects of physical violence. But when a day when man-made vehicles are dashing through outer space and guided ballistic missiles are carving highways of death through the stratosphere, no nation can win a war. It is no longer the choice between violence and nonviolence. It is either nonviolence or non-existence. And the alternative to disarmament, the alternative to a greater suspension of nuclear tests, the alternative to a negotiated settlement of the crisis in Vietnam, the alternative to strengthening the United Nations and thereby disarming the whole world, may well be a civilization plunged into the abyss of annihilation, and our earthly habitat will be transformed into an inferno that even the mind of Dante could not envision. It may well be that our world today is in desperate need of a new organization, the International Association for the Advancement of Creative Maladjustment. Men and women who will be as maladjusted as the prophet Amos, who in the midst of the injustices of his day could cry out in words that echo across the centuries, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. As maladjusted as Abraham Lincoln, who had the vision to see that this nation could not survive half slave and half free. As maladjusted as Thomas Jefferson, who in the midst of an age amazingly adjusted to slavery, could scratch across the pages of history words lifted to cosmic proportions. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As maladjusted as our Lord and Christ, we could say to the men and women around Galilee, he who lives by the sword will perish by the sword. Through such maladjustment, we will be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man into the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice. And let us continue to have faith in the future. I give to you my personal faith now. I know that the days ahead are difficult. We still have some dark, difficult, and agonizing moments. But I still have faith in America. I love this nation. And I believe that we are developing a coalition of conscience that will in the not too distant future solve this problem. I believe it to the bottom of my heart. Before the victory's won, some more will get scarred up a bit. Before the victory's won, some more of us will be thrown into crowded and frustrating jail cells. Before the victory's won, some more will lose jobs. Before the victory's won, some will be called bad names. False rumors will be spread about them. Some will be called communists and red simply because they believe in the brotherhood of man. Before the victory's won, some like Mrs. Viola Luce or Reverend James Reed, Jimmy Lee Jackson, Medgar Evers, and many others may have to face physical death. The physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent death of the spirit. Then nothing can be more redemptive. And so today I can sing louder than ever before, we shall overcome. And I have a reason for singing it this way. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed earth will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lowell is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadows, keeping watch above his own. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mounting of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to speed up the day when the words of prophecy will become real. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill will be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This will be a great day. It will not be the day of the white man. It will not be the day of the black man. It will be the day of man as man. And this will be the day when all over this great nation, all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Catholics and